Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
It's our social issue today, and we're talking about something that is very near and dear to the hearts of people in Taiwan, medical care. People here certainly love to see their doctors when they're sick. I met lots of people here who constantly say they're going to see the doctor. Oh, I broke a fingernail. Oh, did you go see the doctor about that? I've got a little bit of a cold. Oh, you need to go see a doctor and get some medicine.
I have to say, I laugh at what Tom's saying, but it's very unusual for Americans to ever go see a doctor if you have a cold. There's really not anything they can do for you unless it's gone into your lungs, perhaps. They can help you then, but... You know, I laugh every time I get a cold. Someone's like, you gotta go to the doctor. And I'm like, why? There's nothing he can give me.
Yeah, well, they love to see their doctors here. And, of course, that puts a strain on the medical system here, especially because you have national health insurance here. And when health insurance is almost free, everybody kind of thinks, well, you know, you might as well go see a doctor. You know, you don't really have to pay for it.
No.
So, and there's another problem here that we're going to be talking about. It seems that they all want to go to the ER. Even if they have little minor problems or something like that, they just want to go to the ER because they seem to think that they're going to give them better treatment there.
Really?
Yep, that's what our article is all about. And we're going to talk about how this disaster in Bali kind of brought this to people's attention here. Disaster exposes flaws in medical system. That's our article for today. Again, we're talking about that big fire at the Formosa Fun Coast Water Park in Bali, which took place, was that last year? Yes, in 2015.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that and how that has affected how people are treated in emergency rooms across the island. So let's get to it. Let's read the entire contents of today's lesson now one time.
On the night of June 27, 2015, more than 500 people with severe burns were hospitalized after a dust explosion at the Formosa Fun Coast Water Park in Bali. At least 100 ambulances were dispatched to rush the victims to 43 hospitals across 7 cities and counties. It was the biggest group of people that required hospitalization from a single disaster since a 7.3 magnitude earthquake struck central Taiwan on September 21, 1999. Such was the scale of the disaster that it exposed a long-standing problem with Taiwan's emergency medical system: overcrowding. In fact, even when Taiwan's emergency rooms, ER, aren't faced with major disasters, they still suffer from a shortage of resources due to overcrowding. The fundamental cause of the problem is most likely the unrestricted access to the ER for patients who aren't in critical condition. Since the National Health Insurance (NHI) system allows patients to go to any medical institution of their choice for treatment, many patients suffering from minor illnesses prefer the ERs of leading medical centers to regional hospitals or local clinics. Many doctors say that this undesirable situation needs to be changed. They are well aware that the non-critical patients who choose top medical center ERs for treatment hold the belief that they will receive inferior care in lower-level hospitals. To dispel this common misconception, the health authority must educate patients on the adequacy of medium-sized hospitals. In addition, doctors also contend that the NHI system needs reform. Whereas patients should still be allowed to go to ERs for diagnosis, once they are diagnosed as non-life-threatening cases, they should be transferred to lower-level hospitals right away. After all, an overcrowded ER puts patients' safety at risk, as there won't be enough resources to go around, and hospital-acquired infections increase with overcrowding.
Okay, let's talk about our article now. That's what we're supposed to do right now. After you've listened to the article read, we need to sort of break it down for you in case you didn't understand something there. So the title here is Disaster Exposes Flaws in Medical System. Remember, this is referring to a specific disaster. A disaster has exposed flaws in the medical system here. So something's a flaw when it has a certain kind of problem and it makes something that is perfect not so perfect. It's a fault and an imperfection, and it kind of ruins something. Sometimes you might buy porcelain, a vase or something, but it's got a flaw in it. Maybe one part is sticking out too far. Sometimes you can buy clothes more cheaply if they have flaws in them. Maybe something was sewn a little too tightly or something like that, so it's got a flaw there. And there is a flaw in the medical system here. Well, maybe more than one.
Yeah, those clothes that have flaws are typically sold in places like outlet malls. If you see that word outlet, it means there's something wrong with the product, but it's not too bad, but you get a cheaper price. So this is one of the flaws in the medical system that we're going to talk about today. Now, go back in history, just a year ago, we had the water park explosion. And when that happened, it exposed some of the major flaws in the medical system here in Taiwan. On the night of June 27th, 2015, more than 500 people with severe burns, those are very bad burns, were hospitalized after a dust explosion at a water park in Bali. Notice here that hospitalized is a verb. We often will add IZE to different words and they change into verbs. For example, priority, prioritize. So if you see something with a Z on it, it's probably a verb that you're looking at. They were hospitalized, which means they were put into the hospital because they had very, very severe burns.
Yeah, there was this dust explosion. Dust is just very fine particles of something. This was
like a powder.
Yeah, from color powder or something for some kind of activity. But something got too close to a fire source or something. I'm not sure if they figured out the cause yet, but in any case, there was an explosion. I think actually more than one explosion.
Maybe someone was smoking?
Yeah,
I don't know.
There was a theory there, and then later they ruled that out and stuff.
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure. I don't want to say for sure what happened
we don't
here.
know.
But in any case here, it was an explosion. Boom! Something blew up. There was an explosion. That's from the verb to explode. The bomb exploded, so there was an explosion. This happened at the Formosa Fun Coast Water Park in Bali, which is a town on the northern coast of Taiwan, across the river from Danshui. Now, at least 100 ambulances were dispatched to rush the victims to 43 hospitals across 7 cities and counties. So, yes, indeed, the ambulances came to the rescue there. An ambulance, of course, is a special vehicle that transports a sick person to and from a hospital. To dispatch means that somebody sent it out, usually from some kind of government organization like the police or the fire department or hospitals. They will dispatch a vehicle. The police can dispatch vehicles to the scene of a crime. The fire department can dispatch vehicles to a fire, etc. And the person who does that is called the dispatcher.
Yeah, what is their emergency number here?
It's 119.
Yeah, if you call 119, that operator will listen to what trouble you have, and then she or he will dispatch somebody over to help you. So they send somebody out to help you. Now, they rushed these victims to 43 hospitals across 7 cities and counties. Why so many? Because one hospital can't take care of 500 people. So they were having to send these victims, these burn victims, to different hospitals across a large area of Taiwan, you could say. It was the biggest group of people that required hospitalization from a single disaster since that big earthquake that struck central Taiwan back on September 21st, 1999. If you talk about an earthquake and how big or small it is, you'll often see numbers and then this word magnitude. Magnitude is just how big something is. So 7.3 is a really big earthquake. Anything above 7, wow, watch out. You're going to have a lot of destruction.
Indeed. And that was way back in September of 1999, or the famous 9.2 地震, the 9/21 earthquake. Now, such was the scale of the disaster that it exposed a long-standing problem with Taiwan's emergency medical system, overcrowding. So here, such was the scale of the disaster. It means the disaster was of such a large scale that it exposed this problem. Okay, so scale is just the relative size of something. The scale of the disaster compared to other disasters, it was quite large compared to smaller ones, maybe like a fire, where maybe only 10 people need hospitalization. This required the hospitalization of many more people. 500 people.
Wow. Well, when you expose something, you show something that has been hidden or has been covered. A lot of us, we have too much exposure to the sun and we get a sunburn. Exposed just the scale of how large this disaster was. It showed a long-standing problem that Taiwan has with their emergency medical system. Long-standing means something that's been around for a long time, long-standing. It's been around. People have noticed it. Maybe nothing's been done about it. Here we're talking about the emergency medical system. The emergency medical system would include these ambulances and taking people who have very severe injuries. Maybe they were in a car accident and an ambulance is dispatched to the scene of the accident, and then that patient is taken directly to the emergency room where those doctors are trained to save lives that are in critical condition.
Right, so this is a long-standing problem. Overcrowding, just too many people, and this seems to be a problem in all sorts of sectors here in Taiwan. This is a very crowded place with high population density, so you can imagine that this problem would happen quite frequently. But yeah, nobody expects these big disasters to happen with so many people being hurt at one time. So my hat goes off to the person who is coordinating these ambulances with all the hospitals. That must have been quite complicated to figure out where to send people. It was a life or death situation. So wherever that person is, I'd like to buy him or her a drink and shake his or her hand. Well, that brings us to the midway point in our lesson for today. Let's take a little bit of a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 在去年八仙尘爆的事件之后，它所展现的有哪一些 medical system 上面的缺陷呢？那正是我们今天所要探讨的主题。在第一段的中间的句子提到，At least 100 ambulances were dispatched to rush the victims to 43 hospitals across 7 cities and counties. 在当时呢，至少有100辆的救护车被派送出去呢，紧急的运送受伤的人到横跨7个县市的43所医院。在这里我们来看一下动词 dispatch， 在这里用被动的方式来表达，有派遣发送的意思。举个例子来说 The goods are dispatched from a warehouse， 也就是说商品货物呢从仓库当中被派送了出来。而来看到第二段的第一个句子提到 Such was the scale of the disaster that it exposed a long-standing problem with Taiwan's emergency medical system.Overcrowding。 除此之外呢，这个灾难的规模是如此之大，以至于它暴露了台湾紧急医疗体系里面存在已久的问题，也就是过度拥挤。 我们先来看一下这个句子是一个比较特殊的句型。首先呢 such 在这里是一个代名词，它搭配后面的 that 就有着如此以至于，那么所以我们说 such was the scale of the disaster. Scale 也就是有规模的意思，这样子的规模是如此之大，以至于它暴露了一个问题。Expose 其实就有暴露、揭露的意思。这个问题就是台湾的紧急医疗系统呢，其实就是 overcrowding 过度拥挤。我们再用 such 来造一个句子，他们要求加薪 10%， 这就是他们最近要求的幅度。我们就可以说 They want a 10% pay rise.Such is the scale of their latest demand. 这里要特别注意 such 是当代名词使用。
We're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, so let's get back and talk about this disaster at the Formosa Fun Coast Water Park. We're not really talking about this disaster per se, but we're talking about this in terms of the fact that it exposed a flaw in Taiwan's medical system, or at least in its emergency medical system, which is overcrowding. Now, in fact, even when Taiwan's emergency rooms aren't faced with major disasters, they still suffer from a shortage of resources due to overcrowding. Yes, indeed, before the program, Stephanie did mention that she had a fall a couple of months ago and needed to go to the ER, but luckily, it wasn't very crowded there at the time.
No.
But I think that's the exception and not the rule. Most of the time, the emergency rooms are packed with people who've had various accidents, maybe motorcycle accidents, or old people fell in their homes or something like that. Every time I go past the ER at the Wanfang Hospital near where I live, it seems like it's really busy in there.
Really?
Lots of people in there seeking treatment. So yes, indeed, it does suffer from overcrowding. Emergency room is just ER, or ER is emergency room for short.
I must have good luck because I live close to the Ren'ai hospital, and every time I've had to go several times because I cut myself. I need stitches.
Jeez.
I know, it's terrible. I haven't cut myself for a while, but I've gone at least 5 times since living here 10 years, and I've always had very, very good luck, very good service. I was pretty much the next person they could see, so I've been lucky. Well, it is a problem though if these emergency rooms have too many people. It says they still suffer from a shortage of resources due to overcrowding. If you have a shortage of something, you don't have enough of something. And here we're talking about resources, probably nurses and doctors. There aren't a lot of people on duty in the ER, at least the ones I've gone to. So you have to wait for a while. And if your problem isn't critical, you're hurting somebody else by going. Although sometimes they'll actually look quickly at you to see if you're going to die. If you aren't, they'll help somebody else who's more critical.
Indeed. So the fundamental cause of the problem is most likely the unrestricted access to the ER for patients who aren't in critical condition.
True.
Fundamental means basic here, the basic cause of the problem. Unrestricted means there are no limitations. Anybody can go there. It doesn't matter what's wrong with you. You can go to the ER even if you aren't in critical condition. Critical just means in a situation in which you could really have something bad happen to you.
You could die.
Unless something is done immediately. So you're in critical condition. It means that you need immediate treatment here. And even if you, like Stephanie, cut yourself or something, or like me, sometimes I cut myself shaving and I go to the ER, they're going to say, well, you're not really in critical condition. You can wait a little bit. We've got somebody else over here who just had a heart attack, They kind of should have priority, you
I
understand?
would think so, sure. Yeah. When I cut my hand, it was okay, but when I cut my foot. It was bleeding like crazy. So, yeah, you gotta be careful. Now, since the National Health Insurance NHI system allows patients to go to any medical institution of their choice for treatment, many patients suffering from sort of minor illnesses prefer the ERs of the leading medical centers to the regional hospitals or local clinics. They have this idea that they're going to get better service, the doctors are better, whatever. An institution, guys, is a society or an organization that's founded for a particular reason. It could be a religious institution, an educational institution like a college or a school, a social institution, or here we're talking about a medical institution that was founded or formed to help treat people who have medical problems.
Indeed. So, yes, indeed, patients can go to any medical institution, a clinic, a hospital, and even an ER. And many patients suffering from minor illnesses prefer the ERs of leading medical centers. They prefer them to regional hospitals. Maybe they think, oh, these regional hospitals, in the county or in the country, they're just going to have these old country doctors who don't know what they're doing, so I don't want to go there. I want to go to a major medical center in a major city like in Taichung or Taipei or Kaohsiung.
So many doctors say that this undesirable situation, a situation that you don't want, needs to be changed. They're well aware that the non-critical patients who choose top medical center ERs for treatment, they have this belief, you can hold a belief or have a belief, this is what you think, that they will receive inferior care in lower level hospitals. Inferior means poor quality or worse quality in comparison to others. So they think, some of these hospitals, maybe their doctors aren't as well trained, or maybe they don't have the same equipment. I want the best.
Yes, but, those regional hospitals may have fewer patients and the doctors have more time to attend to the patients. So you never know. You really should do your research first. And to dispel this common misconception, the health authority must educate patients on the adequacy of medium-sized hospitals. So we want to dispel this misconception. If you dispel something, that means you just get rid of it. You make people believe that it's not true. So we want to get rid of this common misconception. A misconception is just an idea that people believe, but it's probably not true. There's a misconception in Korea that if you close the windows with a fan on, you're going to suffocate and die.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Now, in addition, doctors also contend, or they argue, this is what they believe, so they're kind of debating this, that the NHI system needs reform. It needs some change to make it better. Whereas patients should still be allowed to go to ERs for diagnosis. Once they are diagnosed as non-life-threatening cases, they should be transferred to those lower-level places right away. So whereas we're actually using this word because, as you notice, this sentence is going to be comparing the first part of the sentence with the second part. So we do think that patients should still be allowed to go to ERs for diagnosis. If you diagnose somebody, you look at all their symptoms and you identify what they're suffering from. So they do all these tests and they finally say, oh, we know what the problem is. You're having a heart attack. So the first part, we think that patients should continue to be able to go to ERs for diagnosis because it could be serious, Once they are told what they're suffering from and it's not life-threatening, they need to go to a lower-level hospital right away and leave those major medical centers free to give those critical patients care.
That's right, because here, after all, an overcrowded ER puts patients' safety at risk. That's true. After all, it is true. This is something we say at the end of some kind of information. It is true that if something is overcrowded, that means your safety is at risk. This is the phrase to put something or someone at risk. That means you are put in a risky situation, but there won't be enough resources to go around if there are too many people in the ER, and somebody requiring immediate attention may not get that immediate attention, and they they may suffer as a result of somebody coming in there because they burned their hair when they were cooking or something. That's not something that requires immediate attention. It does require some, but nothing like a heart attack or something like that. And it goes on to say, indeed, there aren't enough resources to go around, not enough resources for everybody. And hospital-acquired infections increase with overcrowding. That's another problem.
Yeah.
If there are too many sick people in one place, hey, things can be infectious. Infectious means the disease can spread. So when that happens, it's called an infection.
Yeah, when I go to the hospital, regardless of what I'm suffering from, I always wear a mask. I don't want to get anybody else's bugs, and I don't want to give anybody else my bugs.
Good advice.
So always wear a mask when you go to the hospital. There are a lot of infections that can be transferred to other people or passed around. So this is an interesting thing to kind of focus in on because this could be a big problem in Taiwan in the future. Right now, guys, we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher.
为什么急诊室会过度拥挤呢？在第二段中间的句子提到 The fundamental cause of the problem is most likely the unrestricted access to the ER for patients who aren't in critical condition. 其实在这里提到最根本的问题原因，在这里英文讲到根本的、基本的，就可以说 fundamental。原因就在于呢，这种 unrestricted access to the ER， 也就是呢，对于呢，你可以取得或是接触到急诊室，根本是毫无限制的，可以去使用它。而这些病人其实很多是 who aren't in critical condition， 根本不是在危急的状态当中。Critical 是一个重要的形容词，常常可以解释成为爱挑剔的、关键的，不过在这里是解释成为危急的意思。举个例子来说，谈判已经进入了紧要的关头，你就可以说 Negotiations have entered a critical phase。接着我们再来往下看，我们都知道这样不良的状况需要改变，医生也非常清楚呢一些现象，但是病人还是会有一些 misconception， 一些误解。第三题，第三段的中间句子提到 To dispel this common misconception, the health authority must educate patients on the adequacy of medium-sized hospitals. Dispel 在这里解释成为驱散跟清除的意思。我们想要消除疑虑跟恐惧，就可以说 to dispel doubts and fears。如果要消除这种 misconception， 那么医疗当局呢就必须要教育病患，让他们了解所谓的 medium-sized hospitals， 这种中型医院其实就足以胜任来医治他们的病症。在这里的 adequacy 就是有适当跟恰当的意思。接着后面提到的最后一句提到 After all, an overcrowded ER puts patients' safety at risk as there won't be enough resources to go around and hospital-acquired infections increase with overcrowding. 这里提到呢，如果不解决这个问题，你就会发现呢，一个过度拥挤的急诊室会使得病患的安全受到威胁。我们讲到 put something or somebody at risk， 就是把它置于在危险当中，而且呢，这个原因就在于没有足够的资源可以分配。另外呢，这所谓的 hospital-acquired infections， 因为院内的感染也会伴随着拥挤的程度而增加。这里的 infection 就是有传染或传染病的意思。我们举个例子来说 There are many things you can do to reduce your risk of infection. 其实有一些措施可以来做，来降低感染的危险。以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
That's it for today, but please stay tuned to our program, or at least tune into our program next time, because we're going to continue talking about some other flaws in the medical system here, and they aren't just having something to do with ERs. So find out what that's all about when you tune in next time. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Bye.